I'm Scott L. Miller. It is the 6th of June, 2022. It is Monday, and this is my vlog of daily life in Central America, living here in León, Nicaragua, and I keep trying to switch things up to get a little bit different video, and today I'm also trying a different way of using the lavalier, so let me know if it sounds better, worse, or the same, and if it looks weird. I don't even know if you can see it. So today I am back at work after yesterday we had this amazing discovery for Kat of finding Leonese hamburgers and all that. We had a great day of discovering food, and we're able to make some really cool content from that. That's really just going gangbusters today. Last night I finished the episode yesterday before I had a chance to record what we did last night. After we got back, I was able to sit down and hang out with my daughters, Liesl and Luciana, and we finally were able to take some time on our own, set up. We kicked Dominica, my wife, out of the bedroom because that's the only spot we have that's quiet at all. We took over the TV. A couple weeks ago, we moved the video game system into there, and we camped out. We brought in the Tascam recorder and hooked that up, and we recorded 2 hours of us playing uninvited the 1986 Mac Ventures title. It was for the original Mac, so the original game was in black and white, and in 1988, I believe, in 1987, they revamped it for the Commodore Amiga, which is where I had it, and then the version that we have now from Steam comes in both the original Mac black and white version and the 1988 Apple II GS version, which I think technically doesn't, I don't feel it looks quite as good as the Amiga version, but of course the Amiga version for me is extra nostalgic. The Apple II GS version actually has a higher resolution, even though the 2GS was a much less powerful machine. And for note, I am an antique computer collector, and the Apple II GS is one of the 3 machines I want most for my personal museum. Now, I'm very sad all of my antiques are stuck in Texas, and I cannot get to them. They're in my storage unit, and heaven only knows when I will ever see them again. I have things like a Commodore 64, a 128, a VIC-20, a Commodore 16, an Apple IIc, the one from my elementary school, the one that actually came from my mother originally because she had won it as a prize and donated it to the school, and eventually through a number of people it eventually worked its way back to me. No connection to it originally coming from my mother or being originally from the school that I went to. I have a Trash 80, all kinds of really cool antiques, including my 1987 Commodore Amiga 1000, the first computer that I ever owned. I still have it. It still works. A few things have broken, but essentially all of it still works. On that system, around 1987, maybe 1988, one of the very first games that I ever played, actually before it, I played Deja Vu, which is the first of the Mac Venture games. I fell in love with that game and found it really hard to get through. Uninvited is the second one in the series, and I actually found it easier, but it was creepy and much less my style. Deja Vu is a film noir game, and I loved it then, and I still love it now. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Uninvited is the first horror suspense thriller game that I ever played, and I've only played so many over the years. And it was really well done. You have to keep in mind it was originally black and white and originally came out in 1986. So the 1988 version that we played for 2 hours last night is better than any version that I've played previously, and is still a really, really old game, but it's got a lot of really classic things, and for me, it's incredibly nostalgic. It's like stepping back into my childhood. I was only 11 or 12 years old, directly in between the ages of Luciana, who's 11, and Liesl, who's 13, today. So playing it with them is really neat because I'm getting to see the same game through their eyes all these years later, and for them, they're getting to see a game that I played when I was their age. And of course, I played it alone in the basement of my house in the dark, and there was no modern savings. I didn't have a history of video games. So playing this game alone in the dark when I was 11 or 12 years old had a certain creepy vibe to it. Of course, it's only so creepy, but we all know things from the 80s, and of course, if you're older, things from the 60s, right? Old black and white horror movies were scary to people at the time because it's what they had for technology. This is what it would look like if you're watching something happen through a movie, right? Video games in the 1980s, when they had to be creepy, had to do so with pixel graphics and jump scares and text, right? It's more like reading a horror book than it is seeing a horror movie today, and this game is no different. That's how it is. So the girls are kind of like, you found this scary? It's just goofy. And the jump scares aren't really that scary. They're nothing like the jump scares in, say, Five Nights at Freddy's, which they've been playing for years. So that's really, it's interesting that to me, it felt a little bit creepy, and for them, they're kind of like, this is just silly. But we are getting it to play it together, and that it's at the same age, that it's the same game. There's so much is just I love it. I'm having so much fun being able to do this with them. And of course, we have been gamers together for a really long time. We started playing games together really seriously around 2013, mostly Liesl and I, and then by 2014, Luciana really started to join us. So actually that's 9 years ago for Liesl and 8 years ago for Luciana. With Liesl, some of those first games were like Ankh and Night of the Rabbit, and for Luciana, she started watching us play Night of the Rabbit, but she really got involved when we started playing Space Quest, the really old 1980s series. And I'm really hoping, because Liesl wants to play it again, Luciana's not sure she wants to, I really want to play it with them on this show that we're recording, and go back to the beginning, because Liesl wants to go back to the beginning and do them again, because we never completely finished the series. We got really close. We did like 5 out of 6 games, I think, and it would be nice to get to the end, and it would be nice to have them see it again now 8 years later. So hoping that's going to come up. But this is fantastic. So we recorded for 2 hours. We weren't sure how it was going to turn out last night, but by this morning I had a chance to really listen to it. The Tascam worked fairly well. There's a lot of dog noise, like the dogs are just nonstop making noise in the program, and there's just a lot going on, and there's things we're going to improve. And I mentioned this in an earlier episode, I think. My Tascam is like destroyed. The screen is smashed. It's been ripped apart. I mean, I've had it for a really long time. I got to get a new one that will help a little bit. I'm looking at some models, and I'm really hoping that when Brian Watson comes down on the first week of July, that maybe he can bring one down for me. So I'm going to talk to him about that and see if that can be done. So I may have a replacement coming sooner than later. It is handy that people like to visit us fairly often. So little things like that. Hey, can you bring me a little recorder? Yes, I can send something to them from Amazon and just have something new. And I'm so happy with the build quality and the longevity and just the overall functionality of the Tascam. Totally will get another one, no question. And having a new one that I can mount to my cameras would be really nice too, because I can use it as an additional microphone source. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff I can do with a new Tascam, and my old one could do it too. It's just, it's so beat up, I dare not carry it around. It makes a lot of noise because the internal parts move around, the case will just fall open. It's anything but waterproof because it's so damaged. So there's been the last couple of years since it got damaged, a lot of cases where I really wish I could be using it, and now is when I really can't. But I'm glad I'm able to do it for this with the girls, because it's just the perfect thing for us to sit in a room and be able to do it. It just handles it so well. Long ago, starting around 2005, Dominica and I did quite a bit of podcasting. We actually had a kind of popular, at the time, podcast, long before podcasts were becoming a thing. I got into podcasting when the term had just started coming out. So we weren't exactly pioneers, but we were really early, and we did travel podcasting. We used to do podcast and some video about traveling to Disney World and then traveling to Europe. And then in 2012, which is 10 years ago now, we did a really intense podcast for our grand tour of Europe, but we never finished it. We got waylaid, but it was on this Tascam that we did all that recording, and it was really, really interesting. I'd kind of like to get back and get her to do that again, because maybe we could at least wrap up that trip. But it was something we did. This is the device that we did all of that on. So it's gotten a lot of use. It was old 10 years ago when we were doing that stuff. So that was last night, and then today was a big editing day. I had a bit of meetings at work, so I wasn't like able to take the day off to just do video editing, but I did manage to get a number of things done, and I got this uploaded, and Valentina helped me. I had those problems I told you guys about on the vlog last week, about how I was so frustrated because I was doing the Take Flight videos and Final Cut Pro was crashing and couldn't edit them. It turns out I had a corrupted PNG file, and it really, nothing could open it. If I even sent a copy of it to Valentina for her to look at, it crashed our communications platform. So she's like, I'm making you a new one. So as soon as she made me a new one, I was able to pop it into Final Cut Pro, replace the old one, everything worked. And so today I managed to upload a new Drive Warp episode. So if you haven't seen it yet, by the time you see this video, it's already like a week old, but I have the one that takes us from the outskirts of Leon at sunrise all the way to Peñas Blancas in Costa Rica, when we did our trip to Costa Rica a couple weeks ago to head to Texas. That's a really cool drive because it shows a lot of Nicaragua, a lot of stuff that you don't normally see, especially in the very far south of Rivas, but also seeing the sunrise in the early morning as we go through central Nicaragua is really cool, and it's just beautiful, a lot of it, and I narrate that one. So go check that out if you're a fan of this show. I have Drive Warp by Take Flight. It does not have enough followers yet for me to have an official channel name, so we just call it Drive Warp. If I could get to that 100 subscriber mark, we will get an official name and get that locked in. So guys, head over there, just go to the homepage for this channel, for the Scott Allen Miller vlog. Look down, it is the blue logo. Go to that. Please subscribe, watch a couple of the videos. They're completely different than anything I do here, but they're just something that I really enjoy doing, and they help me use my GoPro more effectively. So I try to get a lot of extra use out of things. So that, every so often I turn out an episode there. It's not a lot of releases, so don't be afraid to subscribe. You're not gonna get swamped with stuff. It's normally once or twice a month I put something out. And then my other channel, which has been the one that kind of kicked me off into all of this, is Take Flight. Again, scroll down on the main homepage here, look for the green logo. That is Take Flight, and that is my compilations of travels with me other places. And right now, the only thing I'm doing on that channel is the 2019 Grand Tour 2 of Europe. That was the last time we had the chance to travel anywhere. And I had filmed that one on the Panasonic Lumix FZ300. I hadn't intended to make a travel show out of it. I was just getting some footage for my nieces. But then when COVID hit, I had time. I took that footage and started editing it into a show. And the 9th episode just released today. It's not very good. I'm not happy with that episode, but the footage I have to work with is really, really rough because of it not being filmed for that purpose, right? So that I'm trying to use that. It was the show that taught me editing. If you do watch it from the beginning, it is sequential and it does take you through our trip, and more episodes are coming. But at the end of the Grand Tour, which is probably 3 or 4 more episodes, when that is done, that channel is going to be handling my travels. So things like my upcoming trip to Guatemala, where I'm planning on filming for the purpose of the show, should be on there. And it'll be, I hope, a lot more polished and really take it to another level. So that too, that one has enough subscribers, so it is officially Take Flight with Scott. But if you want to check it out and support me, go down and subscribe to that, like some videos, give them some watches. I do find them, even I, like most of the episodes, I like to go back and watch because I really do enjoy them, especially when we were in Greece, the first 6 episodes. I feel we got some amazing footage by chance and were able to turn it into something really interesting. Once we left Greece, we were moving so fast and doing so many things, it was really hard to get footage at the time, and now what I have is very hard to splice together. So even though the first ones were a challenge, now it's on the bordering on impossible. Doing my best. We've got a couple more locations to go, namely Tuscany and Paris and Barcelona. So once I get those wrapped up, I'll be moving on to other things. But got that up today. Thank you, Valentina, for saving me on that. And then I was able to do some of our new video game channel. We don't have that completely polished yet, but we got test ones up. We're liking where it's going. The kids said, no, you can't do a 2-hour episode, break that up. So we're doing like 30-minute episodes. It's gonna be very boring. It's kind of meant for us. And that's a good way to make channels, because that's how this channel was made. It was just my vlog for, you know, recording my thoughts, getting my daily updates out to my dad and to Mary, who's been watching for years, and to kind of create a video record for my children, because I had been doing it in writing for 20 years, 21 years, and then decided I wanted to move to a video format. It wasn't for all of you as much as I appreciate everyone being here. I was doing it for myself. That everybody then found it interesting, and I've changed the format a little bit for you guys, quite a bit maybe. Sure, over time that happens, but it worked because it was a labor of love for me, and I was doing it for myself, not because I thought someone was going to particularly want to see the footage. So with the video game stuff, we're kind of doing it for ourselves. It's a way for us to record things that we enjoy and to have a fun project to do together. And I know some people like my father are definitely going to want to watch it because it's a cool way for him to hang out with his granddaughters who are in Nicaragua, and he lives in New York. And I hope that some of you, probably not very many, but a few of you may find it interesting, just another way to interact with us and to see what our lives are like. And I think it's kind of interesting that we are a video gaming family and always have been, but we have lived in 8 countries being video gamers. We started video gaming, my children and I, before we ever moved abroad, Spain being the first place we ever moved. We started playing when we lived in Texas, when my youngest was only about 2 years old. Then we moved to New York, then to Spain, then to Panama, then to Nicaragua, and on and on. So it's been a big part of our lives. That's my channel information. That was a lot for the day. Also today, because yesterday the smoothies were so fantastic, Kat and I ran out and went and got smoothies again today. She found one that she liked even more. I got the number 6 again, the Marathon de Guanabana. It's so hard to say. Guanabana. I'm not going to do it live on the video. Oh, I've already done it twice. It's something like that. It's Guana with an accent, Bana. Guanabana. There we go. And it's so good. In English, it is soursop, but no one knows soursop in English. So even though there's an English word for it, why? Like nobody ever uses that in English, but here it grows and people put it in things and it's delicious. So it's soursop or guanabana with piña, pineapple, and blueberries, which are, I'm going to get wrong if I try to say it. Something starts with an A. And then with yogurt and it's blended. It is so tasty. No sugar added. It is perfect. Of course, pineapples are loaded with sugar, and soursop has a bit of sugar, and blueberries are not completely devoid of sugar. So there is a bit of fructose in there. There's no added sugar. It's a pretty healthy thing overall, and a lot of fiber. So we got a nice walk in, and we did that. That was kind of the day. It was overall pretty busy. Got a lot of work done. I didn't get to game anymore with the kids tonight because they wanted a break. Chana's like, no, that was 2 hours. There was a lot of work last night. We're not going to do it again today. And so they've got games that they've been playing on their own. So I took the chance to just get work done in the office. We did not do the migration today that we're hoping to, but we are scheduled to do it tomorrow. So fingers crossed, we'll be all done with the big stuff tomorrow. That was our day. That was Monday, the 6th of June, 2022. We're here in León, Nicaragua. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, share on social media, comment below, ask your questions, and I will see all of you tomorrow.